We are now live.
Yeah.
At least it says we are.
Dude, dude, what happened to your tooth, man?
You want me to talk about this on air?
Yeah, you can if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I can. I got no problem with it if you want to.
I just completely forgot about that. And I remember looking at the picture. I was like, oh my God, dude, did somebody punch you in the mouth?
Well, I went to the Siege of New York over the weekend.
The roller derby thing?
Yeah, roller derby tournament up in Rome, New York. So no, while I was up there, I was just like on my way. It's like a 7-hour drive or something like that. So part of staying awake, it helps to chew gum. So I was like chewing gum on the way up there, and that's an old cap I have. I mean, that one I got like 20 years ago ish, something like that.
Okay. Oh, so that was the cap coming off. I thought you broke your tooth.
No, that was the cap broke in half.
Oh my God.
and it came off, but it's been years since it has happened because I have both of my front teeth are capped because the one got broke when I was a kid, and then the other one broke years later. But yeah, it came off, and I instinctively pressed my tongue up there, and it just pressed it back in. I went across the street to buy some super glue, came back to the hotel room, and tried to pull it off, and I couldn't pull it off. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's at least okay for now. Next morning, I got up. I went to the Siege of New York, got a breakfast sandwich thing, bit into it, and then I'm chewing. Then I'm like, wait a minute,
crunch.
Not even crunch. I bit into it, and I started chewing, and I like swallowed, and I'm like, oh crap, my tooth came off again. I'm like, oh my God, I swallowed it.
Jeez, dude.
I'm going to have to puke this thing up so I can glue it back on.
Oh my God. Did you really throw it up?
Well, I went into the bathroom. I was trying. I could not make myself puke. I was in there for like 15 minutes. I'm like, how do people do this? I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's harder than it looks or it sounds, man. Like everybody's tried that thing where they put their finger down their throat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought you busted your tooth, and I was like, dude, what the hell did you do?
No, I broke that one years ago on a bottle.
Anyway, welcome back to the channel.
Yes.
I'm Bob. This is Tom, and
Tom.
Welcome to Nerd Culture Class, episode 3. Oh my God, dude, I saw that. I just had to ask you about that because I saw that picture. I'm like, oh my God, dude, it looked like your tooth was shattered. Like it wasn't just like a piece was broke off. It was as shards. And I'm like, what the heck did you do?
Yeah, that's the other thing that you could kind of see in there is the pin that holds it in. So yeah, but I got it glued back on. It's okay now. So that's life. And of course, I did that Saturday. Then I'm like, well, I'm like 7 hours away from home. My dentist is open on Saturdays, and yeah, I'm kind of screwed.
Well, Frank's in the chat. So what's up? What's
up,
Frank? Hopefully we'll get some more people in here. Like I said, I tweeted it out, but I did it kind of last minute because I got home like 15 minutes ago, so like 15 minutes before we started. So, but yeah, so I don't know like how much you do as far as like you're looking into like the news of like things that are going on and like geek culture and stuff like that, but there's been a couple of interesting things that happened because one Frank will be interested in this because they just had Star Wars Celebration this last weekend.
I did not know that.
And did you see the trailer? The
no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Did you see the name?
I did, but I can't remember it.
That's because it's very forgettable. So we're gonna go over that.
Is it Return of Skywalker or the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, it's Rise of Skywalker. Which is like, okay. I saw that and I was like, I don't know how to feel about this, but yeah. So there was a couple of some interesting news. We're gonna go over some Avatar news came out. I don't know how interested you were in the Avatar film.
The new one, I'm fairly interested in it. The first one was pretty good. I'm interested to see how they follow it up
Yeah,
because it was kind of a what are they going to do? Come back and just nuke the planet, kill them all, and get their precious unobtainium.
only way to be sure, man.
That's right. Nuke them for more.
But there was so we got some news on that. We got some news on FX's series adaptation of Y: The Last Man. Did you ever read that before?
I did not, but isn't it the same person that's doing Saga?
It's God, what is his name now? My brain is completely blanking on the person who wrote it. I don't think it's the person. I think that it's Matthew Vaughn. I don't does he do Saga? I don't remember. I think he does.
I don't know. All my stuff is upstairs, so
yeah, I don't remember, dude. It's been so long since I read that book, but and I wasn't like the biggest fan of it.
Well, I know Nate really likes it, so he told me all about it. So,
well, he's probably going to be a little upset because there's some bad news on that. Also, the Hellboy movie was released this weekend.
Oh,
and and there's some interesting things coming off of that, and then of course Star Wars Celebration. And the sad thing about this week is, of course, the Notre Dame fire.
Yeah,
that was awful. But we're going to talk about that. But first off, let's go ahead and get into the Avatar news. So the big news this week for the Avatar sequels, which seems to be taking freaking forever.
Oh yeah,
is Michelle Yeoh has been cast as a character in the Avatar sequels. So I don't know if you've been keeping up on the new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery.
No, I haven't.
But Michelle Yeoh, most recently she was on that. She played the character Captain Philippa Giorgio on Star Trek or STD, as those of us who have issues with it call it. But yeah, she's going to be playing a character named Dr. Karina Mogue. M-O-G-U-E. Mogu.
Well, not like Mogu. God, now I can't say it.
hell, I don't know. Yeah. Man. When I first saw it, I thought it said Dr. Karina Morgue. So it's
yeah.
But other than that, there's not a lot of information coming out about those movies. I think there was something that they said that it's going to be set. It's not even going to be set on the same world at first. It's going to be set on one of their moons or something. And I'm just like, it's okay. I don't know, man. The fact that movie came out, I honestly think all the steam from that movie is pretty much dead at this point.
Because like we said, it's been so long. But then again, how long of a break did we have between the original Star Wars and
Empire Strikes Back?
That was
it was like five years. Frank's the Star Wars guy. Was it 5 years, bro?
Thought it was more like 7, but
well, the original was in was it 77?
77, yeah.
And then Empire was 81 or 82.
Thought it was more like 83 or 84.
Let me check. I think it was 82. Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, and while you're looking that up, you might as well look up when the original Avatar came out because need that for time reference.
1980. May 21st, 1980. So that
Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah.
It was 19. Wow. I thought it was a lot longer.
So that was only like 3.5 years. So they started working on a sequel that, considering how long it takes to make movies, let's say Frank said 77 to 80. So considering how long it takes to make sequels, man, they started on that thing pretty soon after the original.
Well, I was a kid at the time. Maybe it just seemed longer.
Yeah, because Empire, Jedi was 84 originally, and then they re-released it in 86, wasn't it? Was it 84, 85?
I don't recall.
Again, I don't know, but let me look up when the original Avatar came out.
That's been a while.
Yeah. Avatar. It was in 2009, dude. So it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time to wait for a freaking sequel, man, to a movie that was that big. Like, I mean, you get any strike, especially these days with how fast things move. You got to strike with the iron's hot, bro. Yeah, 83 or 84 for Return of the Jedi, and then I remember it got released in 80, re-released in 86, because that's when my dad actually took me to go see it. But yeah, man, I mean, the movie, I mean, Avatar made almost $3 billion freaking dollars, man. It made $2.788 billion. And
Wow.
you would think, man, when it was something that big, and you're talking about doing a sequel to that sucker, you would fast track that thing as quick as possible.
Well, it is Cameron. He's not exactly known for
Yeah, that's true.
pump it out.
But still, man, it's like, good God Almighty. But yeah, so it looks like they're starting to get some kind of steam going, because I mean, well, then again, I mean, look how long it took for him to put out the friggin' Alita movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had the rights to that for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like they're finally starting to get some headway on that, and who knows? Hopefully, we'll start seeing some stuff about it in the future if you're an Avatar fan. But to be completely honest, I think that franchise, that potential for our franchise for that's kind of lost a lot of steam at this point.
Well, not just steam, but kind of like what I was saying, the plot. What are you going to do for a follow up to that? They took their world back, so unless we go back there to kick their asses, there's not much that's gonna.
Yeah,
because we either go back to kick their asses, or we go back and we be real nice and negotiate a whole, and then ruin their culture by being us. So
we bring you blankets mixed with smallpox, and
hell, not even that. Just like, hey, want to watch some TV?
The dude's like, hey, I know where this is going. I read history books, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with that. But moving on to FX's series adaptation of Why the Last Man. So there was some bad news for this thing, which has actually been in development for a couple of years.
Quite a while.
Yeah, it's been in development for a couple of years. And one of the things, the weird thing about this is, and this is something that I've been seeing a lot, is they taking names of these comic books and stuff like that, and they're shortening them. Yeah. For some reason, they changed the series name to just Y. Just the letter Y. And I'm like, doesn't that kind of like, I mean, Why the Last Man? Is that too hard to say or something? And
why more mystery, more intrigue.
Well, just why is like that doesn't tell you anything.
it's a letter. That's what it is.
Anyway, it hit a snag. Apparently the showrunners, Ada, I'm gonna butcher these names here. Ada Mashaka Kroll and Michael Green have both.
You got that one right.
Yeah, that one. Well, that one's easy. That's like Tom Smith. But they have left over disagreements with the network on how to proceed with the show. And I think this is the latest in a series of setbacks this show's had, because this thing's been in development for a couple of years now. And they put out a big screed, which I'm not going to go over right now, talking about, thank you to everybody and blah, 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 but we're leaving now. But apparently there's a major problem between the studio, the network, and the people who are trying to bring this thing to the screen over how they want to present this show. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of speculation as to what the problem might be. Some people think that they wanted to be a little more socially relevant, because there are elements of the original series, Why the Last Man, that in today's cultural identity might not go over well with certain people. Because I don't know how familiar you are with the entire premise of the.
Yeah, I know what the premise is.
Yeah, basically, I think it was set in like 2002. I think, because obviously they're going to update it to be past that,
2030.
2019 or 20 or something like that. But basically, something happens in every living mammal with a Y chromosome, including embryos and sperm, simultaneously die. With the exception of one guy named York Brown, who that's where you get the Y and Y the Last Man. And he has a capuchin monkey that he used in his act because he was like an escape artist.
Mm-hmm.
And the monkey, I love the monkey's name. The monkey's name is Ampersand. It's freaking awesome. But
nice.
He's the only person, he's the only man who doesn't die for some reason. And they don't know, and obviously they don't know why.
Yeah.
So a lot of women also die because of disasters caused by when the man just dropped dead, like plane crashes and things like that. And society plunges into chaos, infrastructure collapse. It's basically it's a dystopian future, end of the world kind of thing. And the whole story is basically them trying to get him to a scientist. I can't remember her name now. To figure out if there's some way that they can use him to save him, because without because all the sperm died too, all the male sperm died too. So they're like, without men, the human race is going to die. So the whole story revolves around them trying to figure out how to use him to help restart the human race. And obviously, in today's culture, there are elements of the story and stuff that certain people probably won't like because it kind of paints women in a bad light in certain situations. Like there are some women who are just evil in the book, and also there's like a whole thing where there's a storyline. One storyline in particular that comes to mind is there's a character who believes that all of the men didn't die. They were basically caught up in the rapture, and all the women were left behind as because of original sin. Yeah, that right there is going to tick off a whole mess of people.
Well, anytime you bring religion into something like that.
Well, not only that, but it's the whole feminist angle of the original sin.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a sexist angle, but it's a religious sexist angle sort of thing. And it's, anytime you bring that up, there's going to be people like, oh my God, no. And they're like, no, they're right. Stop it, both of you.
Yeah.
It's a story.
It's just, and plus, like I said, it's not like they're saying that that's true in the book.
It's just that character.
It's just that one character who's actually kind of crazy.
Well, I think we already covered that.
But it's just like, it's just, how it is today, man. You can't have any kind of nuance. You can't have any kind of context. It's just, everything's bad that doesn't agree with me. But yeah, I mean, and I think that might be part of the problem going on with between the creators and the network. Like I said, everything right now is speculation because they're being pretty tight-lipped about it. But
this early in actually fairly, a lot of things do include non-disclosure acts where they're things are going good or things are going bad. You can't talk about it in public. So
and that they probably have like a mum clause on them for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
But FX has reported that they are moving forward with the series and the cast. Like they haven't fired any of the cast. They haven't, done anything like that. It's just the showrunners are gone and they're now looking for new showrunners. So the people who were hoping to see this series soon, and they actually
gotta wait.
They did more than just like order a pilot. They ordered a full series of this thing already. So they've already dumped a bunch of money into this thing. And it's, but yet again, it's just another setback for it. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving on to more setbacks. Hellboy, the new Hellboy was released.
Yeah, how'd that do?
It tanked.
Ooh.
I mean, it tanked hard. It made $12 million over the weekend, which is less than 60% of the Guillermo del Toro films. The Guillermo del Toro films made like $35 million in their opening week, opening weekend. This thing made 12.
And
And
have you seen any reviews or any? I know one that's seen it, so
I have seen some. I am going to go see it though. I'm going to go see it.
I probably will too.
I have seen some reviews for it, and this sounds like it's one of those things where the reviewers are the professional reviewers are in complete opposition to the fan reviewers, because the professional reviewers like Rotten Tomatoes, which I have no faith in anymore, by the way, it's got like a 15% rating from the professional viewers. The fan viewers, though, all the people that I've seen it have said that it's actually pretty good. Most of the fan reviews. Now obviously they say there are problems with it. And if you go back and you look at the review I did for the trailer on my channel, and I'll throw the link to that, in the description when we're done here. I said that they were like some of the things that I said that I had problems with, or basically what everybody else is saying. That is that some of the makeup just looks weird. Like
weird or bad?
Bad.
Oh, like, bad. Okay.
Like one of the things is like the body. The one that I've heard from multiple people is that the body prosthesis, like his chest and abdomen area, that whole thing in certain shots just looks bad.
Well, I'll have to see it to be sure, but the artist that did Hellboy had a weird sort of angular kind of drawing style, and it was kind of simplistic, not a lot of detail. So they may have just been trying to go for that, which would be awesome if that's what they did. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know, but
I don't think that's what it is, because if you look at the Ron Perlman version, that wasn't a problem. And from what I understand, and here's the thing, I'm a huge Mike Mignola is the artist and the creator for it, and I'm a huge fan of his. And you're right, he uses a lot of like solid blacks and whites.
Heavy lining.
He uses negative space, a lot, and he does it really. And in my opinion, like as far as artists, he's one of my favorite artists of all time. He uses negative space and like contrast better than anybody else I've ever seen. But you're right, he does have a very kind of blocky, like angular style.
I think heavy is a better word for it, kind of. I mean, all this stuff looks.
There's not a lot of shading. It's all very black and white.
Stark is another good one.
Yeah,
for it. Very.
But and like I said, he uses shadow and negative space. Amazing. That's his thing. But the makeup to me in certain shots just looked weird, and even the face makeup at one point that's the problem with like facial prosthetics. If you're not careful, you end up with kind of this like mouth within a mouth kind of look to it.
Yeah, like almost, I don't want to say like chapped lips, but yeah, you can see the prosthetic doesn't move as well away from the mouth because it's prosthetic, and then the actual lips move more and look far more realistic. They're not as static.
Yeah, because very few prosthetics like go all the way down to the lips. They usually go around the mouth. Yeah. So and there were shots where it looked like the makeup was pulling away from his face. But yeah, like I said, but again, this seems like one of those situations where it kind of like The Last Jedi, where the critics loved it and the fans hated it. And this seems to be like the exact opposite, kind of like with Alita, where the critics absolutely hated it, but the fans loved it. Everybody who went and saw it was like, "This is amazing. This is a great, like Alita was a great film."
Even me, I was like,
"Yeah," and you, who was like one of the harshest critics for that, you be still like, it may not be the best the adaptation that I wanted, but it's a fun movie.
I did not like the adaptation, but I did like I said it before, if I had not read it, I'd have been like, "Oh my God, this is freaking awesome." Yeah. Having read it, I was like, "Yeah, it's a cool movie."
But yeah, and that seems to be what's going on here with Hellboy. Like, and some people said like it's got problems. It's got problems in it, but overall, and like and the guy who stars as Hellboy in this, and once again, I'm blanking on a name because my brain doesn't want to work. He plays the sheriff in Stranger Things.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's a pretty polarizing figure. He's a very political person. But like I said in, with the Captain Marvel review that we did, I can watch a movie with a person that I don't particularly agree with and like it. Like I said, Johnny Depp is a great actor and he's a terrible person. So, I mean, but and Mila Jovovich, oh my God, dude, she had some choice words for people about the review of this movie. She's talking about, and she had a good point here. She said that like a lot of the movies that she's in just get absolutely murdered by critics, but they end up becoming cult classics.
Yeah.
Like The Fifth Element. She's like, if you made The Fifth Element today, they would absolutely tear it apart.
Oh yeah, and I don't recall it actually. It really didn't do that well in the theater, I don't think.
Right. No, it didn't. But
after it got out of the theater, people watch it all the time.
Right. And she was like she had some serious shade to throw. I mean, she dropped some F-bombs. Let me put it that way.
Oh.
And but she made some really, really good points though, man. She's like, because like the Resident Evil films, like most critics hate those. I didn't particularly care for them, but they were popular. They made money.
Yeah.
So, and then what was that? God, there was another one. She's been in a lot of. I didn't realize how many
movies she's been in.
I mean, well, I knew she was in a lot of movies. I just didn't realize how many cult classics she's been in. She's been in a lot of crap, man. But
crap we love.
Yeah, that's true. But she she made a good point. But I like I said, I'm gonna go see it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I'm gonna make my own choice. I'll make my own opinion. Yeah. But the critics, because they this seems to be one of those films where because they threw their 2 cents in, it really ended up hurting it bad.
Well, I've kind of found, now this is me personally, I've kind of found that a movie that is split that dynamically between critics and fans, or fans and critics, depending who's on what side, I usually really like.
Yeah.
Because if the critics are like, oh my God, this was so good, and my friends like go see it, and they're like, most boring movie I ever saw, I'm like, I'll go see it and I'll probably like it. Or if all my friends are like, oh my God, that was awesome, and critics are like, burn your money rather than go see this movie, I'll go see it and I'll probably like it. A lot of the stuff that's like 60-40 splits on stuff like that, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, it's just not enough of one or the other. Because sometimes movies are really bad. That doesn't mean they're not enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's like The Last Jedi. I did not like The Last Jedi. I can understand why some people did.
Mm-hmm.
I just think generally overall, it was not a good film. And like I said, the critics loved it. I hated it. And I've gone to movies where the fans loved it, the critics hated it, and I liked them. And I've gone to movies where the fans hated it, and the critics, the
other way,
the opposite.
What you said.
God, man. Anyway, but I usually go and I make my own opinion, because like that movie. What was that movie? The movie Mother.
Yeah.
With what's her name from The Hunger Games? Dude, the critics were like saying that movie was really good, and I'm like, what the hell am I watching this? I mean, I got the premise of it, but I'm like, this is just screwed up. But yeah, so I'm gonna go see it. It's unfortunate because, like I said, even though I had problems with it, with what I saw from the trailer, I'm not one of those people that looks for movies to fail. Being a nerd, I want every comic book movie to come out to be awesome. I want it to be exactly like the comic that it's based off of. I want everybody to like. I want them to be good, so we get more stuff like that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it looks like the Hellboy, and this one had Ian McShane in it. I love that dude. I'm like,
well, we'll let you guys know next week.
Sheesh. You want to go see it with me?
Yeah, we can go see it. Yes, Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, we'll aim for Sunday.
Yeah, go for a late Easter movie.
Oh, speaking of movies that I went and saw,
yes,
a call back to last episode. I watched both Captain Marvel. I watched both Shazam and Glass.
Yes. What did you think?
Shazam was okay. I'm not a big fan of the new 52 version of Shazam. I've said that before.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the idea. It's the whole thing with when too many people have the same powers, the original person isn't relevant.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with Spider-Man and the Hulk and Wolverine right now is like when there's too many people with the same ability, they're not special. That being said, though, I really enjoyed Shazam. It was a good movie. It was
fun.
It was fun. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things in the movie I'm like, why would you do that?
Well, first, it's a comic book movie, so there's that.
Yeah.
And it's a comic book where the superhero is 14 years old.
Yes.
And the guy playing Shazam does such a good job of playing an adult 14-year-old.
Yes.
I love the scene. Best scene in the movie, in my opinion, was the holdup at the convenience store when he's like, "You're bulletproof. Wait a minute, is it the suit or your face? Hey,
yeah,
shoot him in the face." And he's like, "Yeah, shoot me in the face."
And he gives the guy his gun back.
Yep.
He's like, here, shoot me in the face. It was, and I have to say this, I'm a big fan of Mark Strong, who plays Dr. Sivana.
Yeah.
In the movie, I didn't think it was a good idea for Sivana to be the first villain that he faces.
Yeah, because this was really about him. So the villain could, and the villain is pretty weak in this. Not that he's like not powerful, but just the character of the villain isn't that much because the villain is almost a side story.
He's very one-dimensional.
Right. He's just a bad guy is all he is in this movie.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of that particular villain, yeah, you'll be disappointed in the movie because he's just there to be the bad guy. That's this movie is about the kid getting his power and him dealing with that.
Yeah.
And it does a good job of that. So
oh yeah, and it does a good job of setting up the future because right from the beginning they allude to the fact that there is another person who has that power. You know, you see that, and that's an allusion to Black Adam.
Yeah,
which they've already announced the sequel, and James Dwayne the Rock Johnson already have confirmed that he's going to be Black Adam, which we already knew that because they signed on for that like a couple of years ago.
And the only thing is, I really do wish that would be like the third movie.
Well, see, the thing is I don't know that they're going to get a third movie.
Yeah,
because to be completely honest, Captain Marvel is not one of the biggest DC heroes as far as.
But then again, after this movie, he could be their bank at the box office.
Yeah, he could be the Iron Man, like because Iron Man was not. I mean, Iron Man was a mainstay of Marvel comics, but he was not their biggest character.
Yeah,
and then the Iron Man movie comes out, and it's and Robert Downey Jr. is so perfect as it. They're like, we're going to build everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very possible. I will concede that that's very possible. But
in which case, then yeah, you want Black Adam to be like the third bad guy. And here's the one thing that that DC hasn't in this particular incarnation, mostly except for the last Batman movie. Was it last? Anyways, except for certain Batman movies, they haven't done we're going to throw 30 bad guys into this movie. No, just stop it. Just stop it. Just do a bad guy.
Yeah,
they can have cronies and minions and all that, but just do a bad guy. Just do one story, one bad guy. And
Yeah.
then you do another Justice League. Then you have a bunch of bad guys fighting a bunch of good guys, and you can do chaotic fight scenes that last for 12 hours. Okay, but when you're doing a bad guy versus a good guy, do a bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
It's
okay. There we go. I'm done.
okay. But no, yeah. So Shazam, I liked it. I thought it was, like I said, it was fun. And even though I'm not a big fan of the new 52 version, it was fun. It was, you know what? And it's the kind of superhero movie you could take your kids to see, and you're not going to be bored.
Right, and they're not going to be bored either.
And they're not going to be bored either. So I give that's a thumbs up for me. Glass.
Glass is tricky.
Glass is tricky. I feel the same way I feel about The Last Jedi as far as people's opinions on it. I get why some people hate it, and I get why some people like it.
Yeah, I personally like it. I know people that hated it because that is not what they wanted to see.
Yeah.
That is not the ending they wanted. It's the ending they got. And I liked, for the most part, the way it ended. I was disappointed. Like, if you haven't seen this movie, you will be disappointed at the ending, no matter who you are.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way,
doesn't mean it's bad.
When we talk about movies and stuff here, we'll occasionally spoil a thing or two here. We'll try not to, but yeah, we can't control ourselves that well. So
I have no control.
But yeah, I
like the way it ended because it explained it. It explained everything in the movie that I had a problem with up to the end, because frankly, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, my big thing about it was, I'm watching it, I'm like, this woman is just a psychiatrist, and even if she's working for a college or whatever, how the hell is she affording all this stuff?
Yeah, not only that, but how is she convincing these people to do this?
Right. I mean, and she's like only got 3 days to do it. Why does she only have 3 days? And like, just the cell that they're keeping Bruce Willis in.
That thing costs millions of dollars.
And that would have taken a shit ton of time to build too. You just don't put up steel walls inside of a building. It was all the plumbing and stuff that has to go along with it.
Well, not only that, but it's like, you're building this impenetrable cage for this guy. You're telling him he's not what he is, and yet you're preparing to keep him in there like he is.
Yeah.
It's completely, it doesn't make any sense. And then at the end you're going, okay. Okay. All right, I get it. Now, I will say this, the big twist thing that they did with the relationship between the three of them, between the three characters, between Glass, the Horde, and David Dunn, that I did not care for, because I thought that was just really contrived. And basically the secret that his son tells the Horde about Mr. Glass, that part of that I was like, really, dude, are you serious?
Yeah, the one thing that
that's just too coincidental.
Well, the one thing that I thought was kind of a good buildup that they almost went to and then took a turn away from it, because I really thought that they were going to go with this for, I mean, there was a like good 30 seconds of the movie. I'm like, aha! No, it's not. I thought that Glass's mother was going to turn out to be the big bad in the end.
That's what I thought too. And you know what? If they had done that, I think a lot more people would have liked the movie.
Oh yeah, people would have liked that a lot more than what the ending was. But I completely understand. I don't want to quite say I agree with it, but I certainly understand what they did, why they did. And this is in the movie universe, why it works that way. So I completely understand that. And
yeah, it's like I said, the ending makes sense, the way it's structured and the way they built it. But I can see where people are watching this are like very unsatisfied with it. They're like, really? That's what you're gonna do?
Well, it's not really that. It's people are disappointed. They wanted the superhero showdown.
Yeah, they wanted the big fight.
Yeah, they wanted all of that.
And more than that, they wanted a decisive winner.
Yeah.
And you don't get that, unfortunately. But I like I said, I understand what they did here. I understand why they did it. I didn't particularly hate it. I thought it could have been more exciting.
Yeah.
But
and even with the ending they went with, it could have been more exciting. They could have done a bigger fight when they were out in the yard. That fight could have just been bigger.
Yeah, like basically the showdown, you still could have had one guy come out on top. You know, you still could have had good beat evil, or evil beat good, whichever way you wanted to take it. But I think people, because they're building to, I think that's the big thing that people had a problem with, is they build to it, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but I still think the performances that
all the acting, everybody acted. Well, all the actors were really good in it. I mean, they all did an excellent job.
I thought it was really cool that they actually went and they got the guy who played his son.
It's the same kid. That was awesome.
It's the same guy who plays his son in the movie, who's grown up now. I thought that was really, really cool. But I think James McAvoy, again, playing multiple characters, did a great job.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson did a great job as Mr. Glass. Sarah Paulson, who plays the psychologist, even she did a good job. Which
you could kind of feel her tension in it.
Yeah.
Because she's really kind of, you could really feel that she was under the wire when she said she only had 3 days.
Yeah, like she needed this to happen. She needed that. That's one of the reasons why one of the things that happens is she goes to extreme lengths to convince them that they're not really superhuman. Like to the point where you're like, okay, nobody in the medical profession would be okay with this ethically. Like especially the stuff she does to David Dunn. That is like so beyond unethical. It's ridiculous. So, and again, that's one of the things we're like, how is she getting away with this?
Yeah.
But, no, thank you, Moto. But
something on fire over there? What?
No, that's my ringtone. Which, hey, dude, don't talk. Your phone's gonna ring here in a minute. Like it always does right around now.
But, yeah, my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Glass, me personally, I thought it was okay. It could have been better. I thought the performances were good. Like I said, I understand why people didn't like it, though.
Oh yeah, I completely understand.
So, but yeah, so for Holly, who wanted me to go see it, and I actually did go see it. I actually paid money, went and saw it. So don't stab me in the throat. So,
go for the kidneys.
But yeah, so Shazam, and I did go see Shazam. I did go see Glass, and that's what I think about those. Okay, so
what else you got, Rob?
I'm the only one who does research on any of this crap. So, some Avengers Endgame news. All right, you ready for some cringe?
I suppose. Okay. Only got another week and a half.
Okay, so Brie Larsen, who again, when I went and saw the Captain Marvel film, she was not the reason why that movie was not great. The movie wasn't terrible. It just wasn't great, but it wasn't because of her. And again, like I said, I understand why people don't like her. She makes some really stupid comments. She uses, and the comments that she makes aren't even necessarily wrong. She just uses really clumsy language. And apparently people were afraid to tell her this because she once again put her foot in her mouth. Basically, one of the things that I think has really made the Marvel Cinematic Universe so popular is how good the chemistry is with everybody.
Yeah.
They genuinely seem to like each other. And they genuinely seem to get along with each other. And they actually, you see them like when they're together, they're having fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like now, the Lord of the Rings cast is.
Yeah. Right.
Like that.
Exactly. And then you take, and now you take Brie Larson and you drop her into this, and she just seems to be sticking out like a sore thumb. She's really coming off like a like really stuck up and then like a stick in the mud. Because they've been doing a lot of promotional stuff for Endgame, like you would expect, because it's the biggest movie in history. Which, by the way, it broke a bunch more pre-sale records. It broke all the pre-sale records in China.
God, I'm not going to be able to see this movie till July.
Dude, seriously, I already bought my ticket for 10:20 on Thursday, so I'll be leaving the game early on Thursday. When it comes out, I'm seeing this movie and I'm doing a review for it before everybody else gets in there. So,
cool.
But she was doing an interesting thing is when they show her doing her promotions for Endgame, they're not showing her with the other female characters. She's always with because all like they showed like Dana Guerrero. I can't pronounce her name. The one who plays Okoye in Black Panther, okay. And Scarlett Johansson and Elizabeth Olsen. They all show them like together talking to them. Brie Larson's not with them. They're putting Brie Larsen with like Chris Hemsworth and stuff. And every time that she has done one of these little promos, she has said something that just comes off as just bitchy. And again, I don't necessarily think that it's because she's a bad person or like a person like I said. I think she just doesn't know how to talk to people. But during an interview with her and Chris Hemsworth made the comment. They talked about how Brie Larson does her own stunts in the film, which is cool. And he made the comment jokingly and said that she was trying to become the next Tom Cruise. She snaps back at him and says, "No, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much." And I'm like, you have to know that every publicist for this movie literally did a facepalm when that happened. They're like, "Oh my God, are you trying to screw this up for everybody? Are you trying to kill this movie for us? What is wrong with you?" And then later, and you could just tell by the look on his face, he's like, "What the hell did you just say?" And then later on, there was another interview, and it was her and Hemsworth again. And Hemsworth, look, Hemsworth is a charming guy. You know, and he generally seems like a fun dude, like a really funny, fun guy. And again, I think he's trying to be the same way he is with everybody else around her. And she just is like, she just ain't having it. She's too important or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But he made it. They were talking about how like, like sometimes actors will steal something from the set for themselves, like Robert Downey Jr. steals stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. And she said, "I didn't steal." He's like, "Well, I didn't steal anything from the set." And he goes, "Well, she stole our hearts." And then she just snapped back at him again. She's like, "I didn't steal anything." And it's like, again, just the PR people are just like with a notebook, just going, "Shit." It's taking notes and like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with you?" But it's just, oh my God, it's so funny. It's so freaking, look, Endgame is going to make $2 billion.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be one of, if not the biggest movie moneymaker ever. Okay. This thing's going to be massive. But I think this whole thing where they're going to try and build the future around her, that I don't think that's going to work. And again, it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's a feminist. It has everything to do with the fact that she just doesn't have the same kind of charisma that Robert Downey Jr. has. You know, she's not the person to build a universe around. And I mean, I give Marvel all the credit in the world. They marketed Captain Marvel beautifully. They marketed that movie perfectly. And they put that, because I originally had doubts about, like, why are you putting this movie after Endgame? Shouldn't this have come before Endgame? I mean, not Endgame, but the Infinity War.
Yeah.
But going back and looking at it, they knew exactly what they were doing. Like, look, we need this movie to be huge. So we're going to sandwich it between the two biggest movies this franchise and possibly cinema have ever seen. Mm-hmm. Because Endgame made a ridiculous ridiculous amount of money. And it left on such a powerful cliffhanger. People are going to lose their minds watching this thing. So
it's always funny though, talking to people that have only watched the cinematic universe stuff, and they're going on about Thanos, and you just want to look at him and go, he's freaking crazy. In the movie, he's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, they talk about him like Thanos was like those things where they say Thanos was right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
not why he did it.
I'm like, you it's like, guys, he's called the Mad Titan for a reason. He's crazy. He's insane.
Well, his motivations are completely different in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can make the argument in the movie. You can make that argument that he's doing the right thing. He's balancing the universe, blah, 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 whatever, by killing half the people. But that's not the way it was in the book. He was trying to impress somebody.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem I have with the way they did Thanos in the films is, and I don't like this when they do this, they tried to make all the villains sympathetic. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's a reason why Thanos is the big bad guy in the Marvel universe. It's because he's unprecedentedly evil.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally a worshiper of the physical embodiment of death.
Not a worshiper. He is.
Well, he's in love with her.
He is blindly in love with her.
Yeah, which yes, I understand that in the comics they've moved away from that a little bit, but still, it's like that's what made him scary, is because he was literally willing to do anything
just to impress her,
to get her to even just say a word to him. And
when she finally speaks to him.
Oh yeah, when she finally speaks to him, it completely shatters everything. So,
yep.
But no, and I don't like it when they take, like, certain bad guys work when they're sympathetic, like Magneto. Magneto works being sympathetic, but Thanos doesn't. Thanos just, I don't have to identify with the bad guy. Okay, some bad guys are just evil.
Yeah, some are just evil.
Yeah.
Period.
Like right now they're doing this. Oh God! And again, this is one of those things where you just cringe. They're doing a series at DC right now called Female Furies, which, if you know anything about comics, the Female Furies are the character Darkseid, who is basically the big bad of the DC universe. He has a fighting force that's all female on his world called the Female Furies. They're doing a storyline right now where, and here's the thing about Darkseid. Darkseid is a god, okay, a literal evil god. He's one of those beings that is so aloof and disconnected from normal mortal life. He literally has, the only thing he cares about is power and control.
He has no empathy for really anyone or anything else, because he can't understand not being who he is.
Right. Well, it's not only that, it's just he sees everything else as beneath him. He's like, I'm like the thing they're doing it, he sexually harasses people in the book. Like, he literally tells one of the characters that he basically wants to have sex with her, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's not Darkseid. Darkseid doesn't do that. Darkseid is so far beyond that. He doesn't care. It's not that he would have a problem with it. He just doesn't care about things like that. He's literally the most powerful, aloof, evil being in the universe. That'd be like Galactus being like, dude, I gotta get some. It doesn't make any sense. And they're basically trying to make him, they're trying to use a character like that in a more human way. And I'm like, I could see one of his minions doing something like that, but not him. Okay. And Thanos is the same way. Thanos doesn't care about stuff like that. Okay. Thanos isn't a being that's concerned with morals.
Mm-hmm.
you know, like he is in the movie. Like in the movie, he's like, he actually showed that he cares about Gamora and stuff like that. He's like, no, Thanos doesn't care. He's singular in his obsession. And that's what makes him scary. You can't reason with him at all. You can't even try.
And there's no discussion. He's already made up his mind, and he can do it. So
yeah, and he has the power to do it. So that's what makes. Yeah, anyway, we got off on a tangent there again.
little bit.
But yeah,
what?
so yeah, what? But another piece. There was another piece of information where I guess somehow a big chunk of the movie got leaked into the and a lot of it is elements that actually are like really important story elements.
Yeah.
I am deliberately not looking for this. I mean, I know it's a news thing, but I'm not gonna spoil this movie. But apparently, the Russo brothers, who are in charge of, who are the directors and writers of Endgame, they're pretty upset about this thing. And not only that, but in some interviews, like that's another thing that Brie Larsen has done, is she's accidentally kind of given away little hints in some of her interviews, and they're not happy about it. So they basically put out a message in a post, and they said, listen, knock that crap off.
Although, did you see another tangent? But did you see the girl from Game of Thrones that plays Arya Stark?
Yeah. What about it?
Her she was on, it wasn't Conan,
was it Jimmy Fallon or
one of the talk show hosts? She was on a show, and she starts, and she makes a statement, I can't tell you anything, I'm under contract, blah blah blah, and he's talking about pivotal moments for a character, and she starts talking and blah blah blah, and she goes, and then when I find out she dies in the second episode, and she's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
we can edit that. She's like, nobody tweet.
Yeah.
Nobody tweet that. But it was an April Fool's joke. It was on April Fool's, but that was pretty funny.
I actually watched the first episode the other night.
Any good?
It was pretty good. They're setting things up. Now this season there's only 6 episodes.
Only 6.
But yes. They're longer episodes. They're like
okay,
I think they're like an hour and 10 minutes most of it. And then like the last 2 are like an hour and a half.
Okay,
so they're pretty long. Yeah, the first episode was actually the shortest one. I think it was only normal length.
Mm-hmm.
But some interesting stuff did happen. I'm not gonna spoil it up for people because I'll be hunted down and shot. But
it's already aired, as far as I'm concerned. Like me,
yeah,
I'm not gonna see that till it comes out on DVD. It's gonna be months down the road.
Yeah,
if you're not dedicated enough to watch it on the night it airs, or at least within 24 hours of when it does, don't talk to me about spoilers.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna like poke holes in your eardrums and pull your eyes out. It's already happened.
Yeah, but no, there were some pretty interesting reunions.
Yeah.
On the show. It was interesting. This was a good setup episode. It's kind of this episode kind of put things in motion and kind of answered some questions and whatnot. So it's going to be it set some interesting things up going forward. But yeah, like the Russo brothers, they basically not too many words, they're basically telling everybody, okay, everybody shut the hell up. We only got like a week and a half left, so shut up.
Just wait, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was some interesting Endgame news. Okay. Star Wars Celebration. Wow, there's some interesting stuff that came out of this. So, episode 9, or as everyone's calling it, the desperate scramble to fix episode 8. They released the name of the movie, and they also released the first teaser trailer. And as you would expect, there's a lot of people that are talking about it, and some of them are teeing off on it pretty hard. So the name of the movie is The Rise of Skywalker, which you kind of go, huh? Because there's only one of them left. it's like the Leia's dead. Well, Carrie Fisher's dead. Her character is still alive in the movie, at least in the beginning of it. Luke is dead. Ray
gone, not dead.
Luke is whatever, dude. Ray's not a Skywalker, or is she? Bum bum bum. And the only one left is Kylo. So, the hell does that title mean? And then the teaser trailer left some interesting things. Now, unfortunately for you, Tom, I'm going to spoil this a little bit.
No, go right ahead. I haven't seen it yet, but the movie's not out yet, so I don't care. So
it starts off. The trailer starts off, and it's Rey in the desert again. And she's facing down one of those new TIE fighters, like the weird flattened out TIE fighters.
Yeah.
And you're assuming that it's Kylo inside. And she obviously has repaired the Luke's Luke's old lightsaber, because she ignites it. And then she turns and she starts running. And the TIE fighter is bearing down on her. And right at the last second, she does a typical Jedi leap in the air, like over top of it in slow motion, blah, 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 blah. So a couple of people like myself were like, okay, that entire opening sequence doesn't work. Because, one, and somebody actually did a recut of it, which was really funny. You see her running, because she turns and she runs away from it at first, and then she does the flip in the air and over top of it and stuff. You see the TIE fighter bearing down on her, and like the first thing went through my head was, why doesn't he just shoot her?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and someone did a cut where literally like halfway as she's running, it goes boom, and it just shoots her, and then that's it. It just blows her up. So, but then it's the way she's running with the lightsaber. It's like you're gonna hit yourself in the head. She's like swinging this thing like,
it's like a pair of scissors. Don't run with it.
Yeah, I'm like, what would have been better is if they had her do the run thing, even though I'm like, why didn't he just shoot her? And then at the last second, as she does the leap, she ignites the lightsaber.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot cooler. It would have looked, and it would have
made more sense.
Would have looked as dumb. But anyway, Luke's talking about, he's like, it's all on you now, blah, blah, blah. And we see some cool stuff. We see Lando in the Millennium Falcon, which, like, again, someone did a little a meme thing where they show him in the Falcon and he's laughing, doing the typical Lando laugh. And it's like, and then at the bottom it says, all my friends are dead.
Well, did you see the meme? It's got the from the Solo movie, the thing about, I want my ship back, and Solo's like, over my dead body, and then it has that, and he's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. But and then you see a couple new planets. You see looks like there's a new cute droid to go with BB-8, which I'm like, whatever.
Very toyetic.
But the big thing is at the end,
the laugh,
and it is Emperor Palpatine. And at the end, you see them all standing on a hill looking out, and I guess that's supposed to be Endor, because it's a piece of the second Death Star on this planet, and then you hear the Emperor laugh. and Luke says this thing where no one's ever really gone. Mm-hmm. So, and then right after they played that at Star Wars Celebration, the guy who plays Palpatine comes out on the stage, which is actually really cool. And he goes, "Play it again," which was like, okay, that was cool. That's cool. But so there's this whole thing where like everyone's like spurging out there, like, oh my God, Emperor Palpatine. But then again, also people are like, this is completely undoing everything from The Last Jedi, or it's going in the exact opposite direction, which once again means they're kind of starting from the beginning. Yeah. So there's issues with that. Again, it's and something that me personally, I felt about this thing was, I don't feel the same way about these movies anymore. I'm interested to see what J.J. Abrams does to try to rectify, to try to right the ship on this. But unlike in the past, man, I have no emotional connection to this at all anymore.
Yeah.
Like I really honestly don't care.
I wouldn't say I don't care, but it's not like, because, you know, I was 12 when the first Star Wars came out.
Yeah.
And that was
I was 5.
just so unbelievably, holy
Oh,
crap.
it
And
was
I can even,
it was game changing for films,
yeah,
man.
and I can even go back and I can look at you know, I can watch it, you know, watch the old original version on DVD, or not on DVD, on VHS. You know, and you see all the flaws and everything in it, but it's still a good movie.
Oh yeah.
And well, actually, I can't even say it was a good movie. It's very formulaic. He stole
It's
almost
fun.
everything out of it, but it was just it's just there. It's what it is. It doesn't pretend to be anything else. Part of the problems, especially with the newer series, is it's trying to be something.
Yeah.
And the first ones were something just because they were, and now it just seems so forced.
There, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems so forced that, you know, they're trying so hard to make it iconic, when the first one was iconic just because it was good at what it did.
Yeah.
It's good for what it was.
They need to. It's like I said, Star Wars is very formulaic. Just follow the formula and let it be what it is.
Right. And doing that, you're gonna have flops, but it won't flop as hard as when you try too hard.
And it won't piss off half your friggin' fan base.
Yeah. And then you know, they had all this stuff that was canon. Oh, not anymore. So all the Star Wars nerds have to rememorize new stuff. And it's like me with the Klingons. That's why I'm like so not at all interested at all in the whole Discovery thing.
Oh, Disco's. They've absolutely.
You were sticking up for the first season there, but yeah, it's
no. I didn't stick up for first season. I said I understand why they did the changes. I just didn't like them. I understand that they were trying to make them seem more alien, but you could do that without completely retconning them and wrecking them.
Right.
What they did, and actually, I was talking. There's a YouTuber named Mecha Random 42, which is she's actually really cool. Check her out. She basically coined the term. They're space orcs. That's what they've done in Discovery. They've turned them into space orcs.
Yeah, good.
That's it. And it sucks because everything that made the Klingons cool and who they were is gone.
Although I've been loving on Babylon 5 forums, they're showing pictures of, I guess it's called a Klingon time priest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has this thing on his head that makes him look like Delenn from Babylon 5.
Yeah, it's
this like wraparound thing. And they're like, maybe they're part Minbari now. Who can tell?
It's so bad. It's so freaking bad. I tried to give season 2 a chance because there are good members on the cast, and the thing that really bothers me the most about Discovery is there's so much possibility.
And there's the phone.
I freaking told you.
Every week.
God damn it. Anyway, the thing that sucks the most about Discovery is that you see the potential.
Yeah.
And they just pissed it away. And the two biggest problems is you can't have a show like that with one character centered at its center. Even in all the other shows, even though, like, you know, obviously William Shatner,
it's an ensemble. Everybody has their part. You can focus on somebody.
It's not only that, but even when you have them, like obviously William Shatner was the main character in the original series. Patrick Stewart's the main character in Next Generation. Avery Brooks is the main character in Deep Space Nine. Okay. And I'm blanking on her name right now. Janeway.
I have to say, our former first lady. You should know this.
Barbara Bush?
No, First Lady of Ohio. She was married to our governor.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. But anyway,
like 20 years ago or whatever.
And she was the main character of Voyager. But the storyline of the show didn't revolve around them.
Yes, it was.
And because it didn't revolve around them, they didn't have to be relevant to every single episode.
Yeah.
Because Discovery revolves around Michael Burnham, or as people who don't like the show call her, Mikey Spock. Because of that, she now has to be relevant to everything. And because of that, she's unlikable because she's basically one of those characters that can do everything perfectly. And everybody likes her, and everybody, it's like, and it's just, it doesn't work. You know, what was interesting about the character for me in the first season, and that's the thing that I was like, no, why are you doing this? You're killing this. The first episode, she screws up so bad. Like, she's obviously a competent person, a competent character, but she has character flaws. She's arrogant. And because she thinks the rules don't apply to her, she starts a freaking war. And then to compound it by trying to fix it, she commits mutiny and gets her captain killed. Those are things you can't just magic away.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting hook.
Where are you going to go with it?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Holly? She said, I can't even bring myself to stop watching Discovery because how awful it says it is. And it's Captain Janeway, buddy. That's what I said. It was Janeway. I'm trying to remember the
actress's name.
Yeah, my brain was blanking on that. Which, by the way, she's in. She plays a character in Orange Is the New Black, which is actually pretty cool. But then at the end of season 1, they completely retcon that away. They just big red reset button, and everybody loves her. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You don't just wipe out the fact that you caused the death of millions with one good act. And 2, Kate Mulgrew, thank you. She also played Mrs. Columbo way back in the day for all of you people who are younger than me. But and then 2, you took the most interesting thing about her away. You just killed it. And it's just like, and dude, I don't even want to get into, like, I got about 2/3 of the way through this last season of Discovery, and I'm done, man. I can't do it anymore. What they've done to the Klingons is absolutely horrible. What they did to Spock is despicable. I mean, they just absolutely crapped on that character. It is, wow. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what they did. But yeah, so anyway, off on that tangent again, back on to Star Wars. So another piece of
information. Oh, that's what we were talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Because obviously Star Wars always traverses into Star Trek. An interesting thing happened at the Star Wars celebration is the guy who plays and does the voice of Admiral Akbar was being interviewed, and he absolutely tore The Last Jedi a new one.
Wow.
He said, basically, here's what he said. He's talking about how they killed off his, and the way they just unceremoniously killed him off was ridiculous. And then they shoehorned Lorna Dern's character in, who was just this character that nobody knows, nobody cares about. There's no emotional investment in that character at all.
Well, and here's also part of the problem with that whole thing is, they mention her backstory. She is, whatever commander from whatever battle, that blah, 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 blah. You took away the canon.
Yeah.
So you can't use a character that people already have that attachment to because you got rid of them. And so now you're just like with 3 lines of backstory saying, hey, this person is important.
Yeah. And it's
but nobody knows why.
Yeah, but nobody knows why.
Nobody has a connection.
And it was basically, in long story short, he said it was simple. It was all for writing storytelling. And it's something, this kind of thing is something that Disney and Rian Johnson are really quickly becoming known for, is just shoehorning stuff in that just doesn't fit, and killing it's basically destroying the original to make way for this new that doesn't matter. And okay, so here's what he said. And the guy's name is Tom Kane, by the way, and I think he's awesome. He said, "I've been Admiral Akbar now for about 6 years, and I was not really thrilled about how they blew him out the side of the ship." He said, "I'm like, who's this Holdo woman? Nobody knows her. No one's invested in her. Who is she? Why is she saving the fleet? If anybody's going to save the fleet, it should be And he's in the middle of saying Admiral Akbar, and the dude, the moderator who was running the thing, cuts him off and changes the subject. He cuts him off and he goes, all right. And then he changes, and he makes his face like, oh God. And then he changes the subject. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, tell me you guys are not shills for this friggin' for Disney. And it's like, oh, okay, anybody says anything bad about The Last Jedi, we gotta stop it. But he's right though, because if that had been Admiral Akbar
doing it, yeah, that would have mattered.
That would have mattered, and people would have been like, "Oh my God, Admiral Akbar is the GOAT," you know, or even like Wedge. If Wedge had been like, you know, like obviously he's older now, so if he'd been like an admiral or something, or like that, you know, it would have been awesome. But because it was this character that nobody knew about, nobody cared about. That was
then they sacrificed themselves, and you're like, oh, okay, like, they're dead now.
Yeah,
what was that again?
And not only that, but it's like when she did it, you're like nobody cared about the fact that she died. All that they cared about was like, why didn't they just do that in the beginning? Why didn't they just like one of the other ships? Like if a ship going into hyperspace ramming into another ship does that, why didn't they just like when one of the other ships was about ready to run out of fuel, get everybody off of it and do that? Why didn't they do that? Yeah. It was literally one of those things where like nobody cared about the character. All they cared about was the mechanics of the attack. So it's like,
however, had you been distracted by the fact that you were like, oh my God, Akbar just sacrificed himself.
Yes. Nobody would have cared about the mechanics. They'd have been like, oh my God, did you see how badass Admiral Akbar was? I'm so sad. I'm so broke up about Admiral Akbar being gone.
Yep.
It's just there's just no connection to anything in that movie. But yeah, anyway. Oh, by the way, Holly, you're gonna have to go back and watch the beginning of this because I actually went and saw Glass and I talked about it. So yeah, you're gonna have to sit through all the other crap.
It was fairly early on when we talked about it, so
yeah, about 20 minutes in there, something like that. But yeah, it was so that was a big thing that happened at Star Wars Celebration. There was Kathleen Kennedy came out. One of the things that came out that really had a lot of people like going, really, we never would have figured that, is originally they said that they had a plan for the new trilogy. They basically came out and admitted that they didn't. They literally came out and said that when they brought J.J. Abrams on, they're like, okay, we have no plan for where this is going to go. And J.J. took it on himself to kind of lay something out with The Force Awakens. Which, whether you agree Force Awakens was good or not, that's a debate. Obviously,
it's just a remake of the first movie.
Yeah, so. most people don't. Most people already agree that The Last Jedi was terrible. But they pretty much came right out and just admitted, yeah, we screwed up. We didn't have a plan going in, and so then everybody was like, yeah, well, you know,
it shows,
yeah. So then Kathleen Kennedy, who, by the way, for the last like 6 months has just been zero dark 30. She has not, because of ever since the backlash hit its peak, she just disappeared. And part of it, I think, is because they basically told her, look, you need to get off social media and stop fanning the flames on this thing. But she was at Star Wars Celebration, and she comes out and she makes an announcement that they are planning the next 10 years.
Well, hopefully they actually plan.
But here's the problem.
10 years.
Rian Johnson is part of it. Yep. That's what everybody said. Everybody went, because actually the guys who are the showrunners for Game of Thrones, they're doing a trilogy, which I'm interested in that. But he's also supposedly doing a trilogy, and everybody just went, but they also made the announcement that after the Rise of Skywalker, that the movies are going to go on hiatus. They also showed the first trailer, kind of a trailer / production video for The Mandalorian. It looks better than the freaking movies. The Mandalorian looks better than the freaking movies, dude.
Is that going to be a TV series?
It's a TV series, yeah. And it's set, I think, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And one of the... Oh, Holly, you're going to like this. Guess who's doing a voice for a robot on the Mandalorian show? You're never going to guess it. I'm going to sit here and wait until she says something.
Unless she already knows.
I'm like, well, yeah, knowing her and knowing who this person is. Actually, knowing her and knowing who this person is, she might actually know. So, but that's actually like a 10-second delay between us talking in the video. So I'm going to give her a second.
Let's see what she says about that. But okay, filler time.
Yeah, filler time. And Frank, I just made you a moderator, so you can, God help us. But yeah, they showed the trailer for that, and I was really skeptical, man, because I'm a big Mandalorian fan, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. It looks good. Like again, what they showed might be the best parts of it, and it may end up sucking. But it looked good. Okay, you've had long enough. Paul Rubens. Paul Rubens is doing the voice of a droid character on.
Oh, that has such potential,
dude. I'm telling you, man. Like, he announced it on his Twitter thing, on his Twitter page, that he's doing the voice. The character sounds just weird enough to fit him. It's a droid who was a former pilot turned DJ. He works like because there's a cantina that's at the center of the show. That's kind of like on the planet, which is the home base of this Mandalorian character.
Mm-hmm.
He's the DJ in that cantina. And he's gonna be,
that could be cool.
Which I'm like, at first I was like, what? But then I'm like, okay, well, that might work. And it's Paul Rubens, so it's like, it's one of those things where you're like, really, dude? That might actually work.
It has potential.
So I just thought that was cool. I really thought that was cool. I was like, oh my God, Paul Rubens is doing a voice for the Mandalorian. And then the last piece of stuff I got from Star Wars Celebration is they announced EA announced the next video game that they're doing, which is called Jedi Fallen Order. And it takes place, I believe it's like a couple of years after Revenge of the Sith. And it follows a guy who was a Padawan who survived the culling of the Jedi. And it's basically him trying to stay hidden and eventually, making the mistake of using the Force, and people basically starts getting, it's, the story that you expect it to be.
Yeah.
It looks cool. I'm interested in it. However, I have serious trepidation for it because, one, it's EA. And EA especially
prepare to spend more money.
EA, especially in the last few years, have just been the epitome of evil. They've been voted several years. They've been voted the worst company in the world. They've been they treat their employees terribly. They treat their customers terribly. Yeah, they're not good. And the last couple of games they put out, especially for the Star Wars franchise, have been terrible. They've not been good. And again, like I said, their customer service and their ethics are terrible. Secondly, people are already bitching about it. And EA being EA, I get the feeling they're going to listen. The problem with EA is that they have a tendency to listen to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And the reason why people are bitching about it is one of the dumbest. It's stupid, but it's a reflection of our time. They're bitching because the main character's white. That's it. And Tom's like, I'm not touching that.
Gonna have to come up with something a little more solid than that if you really want to bitch. But
yeah, it's so stupid, you know. But I'm like, it's just a trailer.
Well, and this is also, it's a game, and EA can certainly do this. Bethesda certainly did. You know, you're playing Skyrim. You can be any race, any color, any.
Yeah.
You can make your character.
And I get the feeling from the way that this game is being presented, that might be what happens. Because I get the feeling that that's what they're gonna do with this thing, is that you're gonna be able to choose you're gonna be able to choose what your character looks like. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're gonna follow the same story no matter what.
Yeah, the story's the story. I mean, even if it is a sandbox game, the main stories are still the same.
So if
really result no matter what you do.
So if your only hang up is the fact that the character doesn't look like you, problem's you. You know? Because like I've played games where the character was a different race than me. I've played games where the character was a different gender than me. I don't care. Dude, the Tomb Raider games are some of the most popular games that are out there. You know? Mm-hmm. Resident Evil, Jill Valentine's the main character in the first and the third game. People don't care. As long as the game is cool, we don't care. Only people who don't really even play the games, they're the ones who are bitching about this stuff. It's just so stupid. I would have the same problem. And here's the thing: I'd have the same problem if they did the main character was, like, say, black, and someone was why is the character? Oh, look, it's the forced diversity. I was like, no, dude, it's just what it is. You know, this whole social ideology thing has just gotten so bad. It's just gotten to the point where I'll say it before. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't care what extreme you're on. If you're on the extreme right or on the extreme left, you're both wrong. So get over yourself and knock this crap off before things get so bad that there's no way back. But, and that leads me into the final story. And this is not something fun. This is something terrible that happened over the last couple of days, and that's the fire at Notre Dame. I was actually at the gym when they started reporting on it, and I was like, and at first I'm like, what am I looking at here? And then I realized, I was like, oh my God, Notre Dame is on fire.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I saw the headline, and the first picture I saw more or less just had some smoke, and you could kind of see some flame or a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
And even at that point, I was like, that is not good for that old and that kind of a structure. You know, if fire's there, that is.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. And here's the thing. I mean, luckily, because it was under renovation.
Yeah.
The majority of the artwork and stuff was gone. Was already out of it. The sculptures, like all the bronze sculptures on the outside that were on on the outside of it, those had all been removed priorly. So that's a blessing right there.
Mm-hmm.
The main structure survived, which is again a blessing. And I guess from what they said, most of the stained glass did too.
Oh, I thought the one the round window in front. I
The
thought that
rose.
was yeah. I thought that was gone.
That was the glass is damaged on that one. I think the main rose window. I think, but the majority, from
Mhm.
what I understand, the majority of the glass survived.
Okay, that's
Which
good.
even if it survived, though, that doesn't mean it's not compromised.
Right. Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff is, and you would know this better than I do because you used to work at like one of those places that actually made stained glass and stuff. A lot of that's held together with lead, isn't it?
It would have originally been there would be some wrought iron through it because just lead could not hold something of that structure up.
Yeah.
So there would be a lot of iron to it too to give it
Yeah.
the strength to stand up like that. But yeah, a lot of it would have been lead, and even the glass. I mean, granted, probably most of the glass in that I would guess is not the original. Over the
Yeah.
years, a lot of it had already been replaced, but still, that's old.
Yeah.
Old. I mean, if it that building was over 850 years old.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was talking to the guys, like talking about those timbers that are in there.
Yeah.
Those big oak timbers. I mean, by the time that fire was at its apex, it was a freaking blaze, man. It was massive.
Yeah, that's hot.
And to burn those timbers, even old timbers like that, like those timbers were probably at least a few hundred years old. Even timbers,
more than a few. Those are
well, at least a few, because I know a lot of them have been replaced.
Mhm.
But even those timbers like that, those things were made out of oak. That stuff is hard, man. That is some dense wood. If you've ever had a piece of oak and you thrown it into like a campfire, it takes hours to burn.
Yep.
And for that stuff to go up the way that it did,
that was a hot fire.
That the intensity of that fire was crazy. It was intense. And now I was watching it and I saw when the center spire came down, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I heard.
Oh, dude. And that I mean, I'm an art guy, man. I love architecture. Like when I did my 3D Full Sail for my 3D modeling final, I actually did the Notre Dame Cathedral. I did a 3D model of it, and I remember spending hours and hours and hours modeling that rose window.
Yeah,
you know, because I love that kind of architecture. I love that Gothic architecture like that, and just thinking about the fact that thing took lifetimes to complete. That thing literally took generations. Like, you imagine starting on that thing,
and your grandson finishing it,
realizing that your grandchildren are going to be the ones that finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing has been stood almost.
Actually, at the time, that would probably be your great or great great grandchildren that would have finished.
Yeah, because the lifespans were so much shorter.
Well, so much shorter, and it took more than 100 years to finish.
Oh yeah, it took. I mean, it was insane. But really, dude, again,
yeah, it's.
God.
Yeah, now on Wednesday nights, because we used to do this on Wednesday. Yeah, the phone's dead on Wednesday, but now
it's crazy on Tuesday, of course.
Yeah.
But the thing that really bothered me about this, though, is one, immediately the conspiracy theory started.
Oh yeah.
And there was some crazy stuff going around. Obviously, people, it's got to be some kind of a terrorist attack or something.
Although I did go into work and point at the conspiracy guy because he's done some Catholic conspiracies, and I'm Catholic-ish. So
Catholic light.
Yeah, I just walked in and I pointed and I'm like, "What did you do to Notre Dame?" He's like, "What?"
Well, there's actually been some stories going around about in Paris, Catholic churches that have been vandalized.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but also they're pretty sure that this happened because of the renovation.
Yeah.
That something
it's not definitive yet, but that's
because the reports that were coming out said that people saw the original fire. They saw the original incident.
Yeah.
And it was actually fairly small, and they probably could have taken care of it if they had the stuff on hand to do it. That was one of the big problems because Notre Dame Cathedral is kind of actually on an island in the middle of Paris.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, but
A lot
yeah,
of
it's
people
on
don't
an
realize
island.
that. And secondly, and this is the thing that's going on in my brain. You know that there were people like curators and stuff in that in the cathedral who were like, you can't bring water in here. You know, they're like, you're going to destroy X, Y, and Z if you bring water in here, or if you bring, you know, firefighting foam and stuff. Because I don't know if a lot of people don't realize this. That firefighting foam, that stuff messes up everything, and it's really hard to clean up. So part of my brain is like, one, they didn't have what they needed to take care of the fire to begin with.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't get to it.
Well, they couldn't. Well, even just the people on hand didn't have what they needed to do it, and then they couldn't get to it really. And then two, somebody's probably in there going, "Oh, we like taking way too long to figure out what to do because they're like, well, we don't want to do that because it might destroy this." And I'm like, and you know, because literally it took. They said it took over 2 hours for them to get firefighting crews out there.
Yeah.
Just to get started on this thing. It was crazy, and it was just awful. But again, like I said, there's conspiracy theories going around. The thing that really bothers me, though, are these people that are just like crapping on, like, obviously a lot of people, this means a lot, especially people in Paris. Like, this thing is part of their culture.
Yeah.
This thing is part of their history. This thing is,
it's to people from Paris and from France, it's not just the Catholic Church, and it's not just an old, you know, Catholic church. It's part of the city. It's part of their heritage. It's definitely part of the history of the city. So I mean, it's kind of actually the reason that Victor Hugo wrote Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know, as part of, I believe that I might be remembering this wrong, but that was actually part of an effort to save it at that time, because it was kind of in disrepair then, you know.
And just the fact that this thing, I mean, this thing is, it's obviously a religious icon, but it's an architectural achievement back in the day when all they had were ropes, pulleys, and elbow grease.
Yep.
And they built that thing. And it's also just like I said, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of architectural art. The works inside of it were themselves pieces of art. And its cultural and historical significance are just amazing. It's basically like, this is like, I was trying to think of something that would become comparable to this here in the US. It'd be like if it'd be like if Mount Rushmore suddenly blew up.
Or just like slid off.
Yeah, or just fell apart. Just everybody like, oh my God. You know? Because I was going to say, it's like, well, it'd be like if the White House burned down. I was like, well, no, the White House hasn't been around very long.
And well, technically it has.
It would kind of,
White House has been around a lot longer than Mount Rushmore, though.
Yeah, so. But I'm like, just like something that's that culturally significant, though.
Well,
or you know what? Actually, a better one would be like if the Statue of Liberty burned down.
Statue of Liberty, if it like part of the island gave way and it just slid into
the ocean,
to the harbor there.
God.
But
that's the way it feels to those people there, and just to people who are, you know, like appreciative of architecture and art, you know, and historical significance. That thing,
it was an iconic building.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. But there's people that are just shitting on people who are like feeling like that, you know, and like making fun of it, and you know, it just being heartless. And some people are saying that they're glad it came down and all this negative stuff. And I was actually playing World of Warcraft because I'm a nerd. And there was a dude in the chat in the guild that I'm in who was just teeing off on it and like just saying just awful stuff. So I basically told him, dude, you're being an asshole. So we got into it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not like, I'm too old for this crap, and two, I got better things to do. So I just like I quit the guild and I left. I was like, if you're gonna have crap like that around here, I got better places to be. But just the idea, just, you know, and like I don't care about that, but just the idea that there are people that are that just
Petty.
Just that petty and that crass. You know, I'm like, not only that, but at the time we didn't know if there were people still in there that could have died.
Yeah.
You know, and like this thing could have been this, like I said, as bad as this thing was, it could have been way worse.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to be able to repair this thing and rebuild it. But, you know, and obviously, you know, like I said, the vast majority of the artwork and the sculptures were saved. But
yeah, it could have been a lot worse,
oh,
and people could have been
so
hurt too. So
yeah, yeah, like people could have been like there's a lot of people going in and out of that thing. A lot of people could have been hurt, but thankfully they weren't, and it wasn't, and it will. And they've already said they are going to rebuild it. There's already a fund that was set up for it that's already raised like $750 million. And that's the thing too. People don't realize how much money it's going to cost to repair that thing.
oh yeah.
That thing is like the damage that was done to that thing. It's going to take, it might take all of that money that they raised. It's probably going to take that and then some.
Oh yeah, it will.
It's insanely,
and it's not going to get done for decades.
It's going to take, it might take the better part of a decade or two to finish that thing.
Oh no, it'll take more than a decade.
Well, I don't know, with modern techniques. I don't know.
It's still like my prediction. It's probably going to be more like 20, maybe 30 years.
I don't know if it's going to take quite that long. But
have you seen the Acropolis?
Oh yeah, dude. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just don't think like with modern techniques and equipment and the amount of manpower they're going to dump into this thing. I don't think it's going to take quite that long. It's going to take a long time though. But
yeah, I mean, it's already been under restoration and that's just restoration for decades already.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, that was also they're trying to preserve things in it. And now they're just rebuilding it.
Well, once again, like the Acropolis, yeah, they're not just straight up. Oh, well, we'll just rebuild the thing.
Yeah,
they're gonna
use
rebuild it using as much as the original as they can, and also keep it as close to the original as they can, instead of taking like, oh, well, we'll just put a couple steel girders in here and it'll be fine. Nobody will notice. So.
No, I understand that. But like I said, I still think with modern techniques and just like I said, the amount of manpower they're going to dump into this thing, because this is now like before. It's like, oh yeah, we had a crew renovate, and it's going to be like the entire damn country's coming after this thing now.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to take a really long time. It might not get finished in our lifetime. But yeah, so that's, I mean, it's like I said, it was a terrible thing.
And fire bad.
Yeah, fire bad, especially when something that old is at the center of it.
Yeah.
But and yeah, I've seen, like I said, I've seen conspiracy theories and crap coming out of it. I'm like, look, dude, let's hold off on the conspiracy theories and let's just like worry about making sure that it survives.
Yeah, a well-formed conspiracy theory 10 minutes after something happens
is impossible. Yeah,
did you just have another file and change the name on?
Yeah, but yeah, so that was that kind of sucked, and it's kind of, I don't even know how to end it on that. But
well, I got two things I'd like to do real quick before we.
Okay, go for it, man.
Sure.
I now turn control over to you, sir.
Okay. Recently got this book. It's called Cretaceous by Todd Galusha. I'm guessing how that name is pronounced. It reminds me very much of The Age of Reptiles by Ricardo Delgado, which I loved. Age of Reptiles. It's one of the best books you will never read, because there's not one word in the whole thing. It's all about dinosaurs, and it's a really good dynamic story. I mean, especially the first one, which, let me see if it actually has a title for the stories.
How do you spell that guy's name?
Which one? The
Todd Galusha.
Galusha.
I mean, GALU?
Galusha. Yeah, he does the Cretaceous. It's kind of the same thing. It's a dinosaur story. Now this one, he does put like when they growl and roar and stuff, he actually writes that in. He writes in some sound effects, just a couple of them. But
Okay. Okay. Oh, this is the dude who did
that one, yeah.
What's it called? What's the one you're reading right now called?
A Cretaceous.
Todd Galusha. Is it Todd?
Todd double D. Yep.
Todd Galusha. Because I think he did. I actually read. I think he did one of those Bubba Hotep books. Todd Galusha.
Well, he did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters.
Todd Galusha Comics.
From his little bio here in the back. But yeah, once again, it's dinosaur stories. Just they're basically killing each other like dinosaurs do. But it's good.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's the Bubba Hotep book that
Oh, he did do Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, he did. I think it was Bubba Hotep Returns or something like that. Which, by the way, that's one of my favorite friggin' Bruce Campbell movies. But okay,
awesome.
So Cretaceous, which was written by he wrote and illustrated it. All right.
Yeah.
Cute.
But it's good stuff, and like I said, it's another great book that you will never read.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to just cover real quick was my my Derby weekend.
Okay, cool.
Because it was, despite the 7-hour drive,
my God,
and me not actually getting to do part of what I wanted to do there, because I stayed right across the street from a historic fort, which I only kind of got a glimpse of, but unfortunately, when it's open, I'm at the Derby and then coming back late, but so I never got to go see it. But yeah, Siege of New York was a lot of fun. Let's see, there was.
Give me the guy. You got to tell me the cool names of the different groups.
Oh, best name ever. I doubt anybody will be able to top this one. This is such a good, because it's a double entendre and a pun all at the same time. You just can't get any better than this. But let me make absolutely sure here. Let me look down the list. Where is it? Yep, here it is. From the Brew City Bruisers from Milwaukee. One of their skaters, her name is Sexual Innuendo.
What?
That's her name. Sexual Innuendo. So that was just, I died that. I mean, I died. That was so funny. When the announcer said, I was like, what? I'm like, get the program. Let me see here. Who's this? But I got her autograph. So that was awesome. Actually, of everybody there, I think I'm only missing 3, and they're all from the Green Mountain team from Vermont is the only one that I missed. I missed like 3 girls on that team, and I didn't realize it till later. But Cleveland did really well. They won all 3 of their games. They took their bracket, so they all got nice medals and a trophy. And they are now 7-0 in tournament play for the year. So that was awesome. And I got to meet and also got all of their autographs, the team from Antwerp, Belgium. They were already nice. And I believe, I want to say that, yeah, that they took their bracket, which was the top bracket at the tournament. So that was awesome. Yeah. And like I said, they're all very nice, and I didn't realize it. I think it was their photographer actually came over and pointed out to me. She goes, "Yeah, thanks for being so supportive." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "You're the only person that cheered for us at every game." And I was like, "Oh,
I did.
Thank you so much." But yeah, they were really cool, very very nice. It was great to meet them. Yeah. And the host team, the Central New York Nightmares, who have an excellent logo, by the way. It's this whole kind of, I want to say, Greek-esque kind of Pegasus unicorn thing.
Here's Tersh. Tersh finally showed up.
Oh, Trish is here. Hey, Jason.
Yep. But yeah, you're here right when we're getting ready to leave, man.
Yeah, that was my Derby weekend, and yeah, we started off with the 2 stories, so we don't need to recap that part of my weekend.
Yeah, God. But actually, Holly was just sent me like a 6-part text. I guess she went back and she watched our review of Glass.
Yeah,
and she talked about when I said that I thought the whole thing that was connecting all of them was a little weak. She actually pointed out, and I do remember this, that in the movie Split, there's a scene where Kevin, the guy who's the split personality guy, the Horde,
yeah,
he actually he's at the train station and he leaves flowers for his parents.
yeah.
So that was, or his dad. So Shyamalan did, like, he had that connection planned the whole time. I did see that, and and now that she mentioned it, I do realize that. I just don't think it's necessary to have that contrivance there. I think I think it makes it a bigger, wider world that it just happened. You know, that you just have these 2 beings that exist. And like she says, when you have one, you have a good one, a bad one shows up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just that there's like, it's like opposites attract. It's like it's just this necessary thing that happens. Which is kind of like, if you remember in I think it was Avengers Age of Ultron. No, it was in Avengers Civil War, where the Vision is talking about how, you know, like they themselves, like when they were talking about whether or not they're going to be part of the Sokovia Accords, and the Vision makes that statement where he says, "Our very strength attracts challenge." Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah, it's like the whole thing is you're basically, it's one-upsmanship as you up. It's kind of like the whole force and balance thing. You know, if everything starts going to the light side, you're going to have a hell of a backlash when things tilt the other way.
And I get what, and Holly's just, from a comic book standpoint, I thought it made sense that Glass was responsible for creating both David and the Horde. I can kind of see that, but I don't think it just isn't necessary to me.
I don't really see him as creating, as enabling them.
Yeah.
So
and no, I do think that he's because he didn't create David. He created the Horde. He didn't create David. David was already what he was. He just didn't know it.
Well, I think remember, the same way it is for the Horde too.
Well, no, because the Horde's, like, the whole thing with him developing the split personalities and everything, like, he still had that potential within him, but he didn't have that whole split personality thing until his mother basically went crazy on him when his dad died. Like, that whole thing was kind of like the catalyst for him developing all those personalities. But, you know, he still had that. I mean, obviously, because
the beast was still, or the Horde was still within him.
Right.
And it just chose to be that, or
it just
his psyche chose to make it that part of his personality.
It came out in that form.
Yeah.
As far as him being responsible for their
origins,
I get that. I just don't. I think it makes the world feel bigger and more dangerous if it's just that, like what Sarah Paulson's character says, that when one comes, the other shows up, and inevitably they clash. That's the whole reason for that organization she's part of for existing. Is to prevent that, because the fear is that if the more and more of those
the collateral damage is
the fear of like, if more and more of those people show up, if they don't stop them, like, before it gets out of hand, it's just going to destroy everything. You know, like you said, the collateral damage is just. I just think it works better. It would have worked better if it had just been like he recognized what they were. the interesting thing that I think is kind of this is if Glass is in fact like a quote unquote special person like they are,
Mm-hmm.
where's his opposite? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, and also I think part of the reason why Shyamalan did this is I think he was actually trying to I think he was legitimately trying to set up like kind of like an an unbreakable universe.
Yeah. Although you could
because
maybe that is, being a Shyamalan movie, maybe that is the secret behind it all, is his mother is his opposite. Ooh, think about that one.
Yeah, I guess I still think and again, I understand, like I said, I understand why he did what he did. I understand why people like it. Some people like it and why some people don't like it. But I still think it would have been like a holy crap, like a better like holy crap moment if it ended up his mother was the big bad.
Yeah. Although I think you're supposed to be led down, because that's what I was thinking too.
Oh, I think that was definitely
Right
the red herring that he was laying out.
Yeah. Because when I was sitting there watching it, and when he was dying there and she's talking to him, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be his mom. It's going to be his mom. It's going to be his mom.
Yeah.
Well, it's not his mom.
But no, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, I think James McAvoy's performance is amazing.
Yeah.
Same thing with, like I said, with like last week. Anytime you have a group of people that are playing multiple characters,
mm-hmm.
and they do it and they actually pull it off and do it well, I'm really impressed. And he plays a buttload of characters. I mean,
okay, who wants a PB&J?
I really like, that's actually one of the things that I like about if you go and see and like I said about the Doom Patrol,
mm-hmm.
when the character Crazy Jane, when she's playing the different characters, she does a really good job of really bringing them to life. They did an episode recently where Robot Man literally goes into her brain and meets all of them. And some of them look like her and some of them don't. And the characters that they got to play each individual personality fit the actress, like the version of when the actress played them herself.
They fit that version of the character.
Fit it perfectly. They fit it absolutely perfectly. And I'm like, that's so freaking cool.
Awesome.
It was really cool. Like I said, I'd wait until the entire first season is done for Doom Patrol, and then I would get the DC online app for that first free month.
Just watch the crap out of it.
No, I did like that. I did like when Holly's talk about how they make the illusion that there's going to be this big battle at the skyscraper, kind of like a Marvel type thing.
Yeah.
And it ends up that they're just having it out right in the middle of the yard. Mm-hmm. And that was his plan all along. I do get that. I still think it would have been, I still think you could have had that more satisfying battle between them.
Well, it would have been a more satisfying cinematic battle. Mm-hmm. But as far as the plot that they were going with, the battle on the yard works better because it was covered from every angle by video. Yeah. If they went and it happened at the skyscraper, you're not going to have the same kind of coverage. You're not going to get the same. I mean, people will hear about it, but not everyone will see it as it happened.
Right.
Because the news will show up eventually. And even when they do get there, they'll have their own cameras either flying around or based on the ground. But the grounds of the asylum were already covered, like I said, from every angle. So you're going to get the whole fight and everything that happened.
Yeah, I like the fact that it took place there. I just wished it had been more of an actual battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I still think, and I get why like I said, again, I get it. I just think that it would have been, I think people would have been more satisfied with it, with the movie, if they had gotten that big fight. Because you could still,
if the fight just would have been bigger, more people would have liked it.
Yeah.
If it had been a little more superhero-y over the top.
I think the build up to it, and then the fact that it just lasted for just literally like a minute, and then it was over. I think that really just turned a lot of people off.
And just the way God, Bruce Campbell's not Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Willis's character.
Yeah, just the way his character died was, you're like, oh God, no.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, spoiler alert. Like I said, we're not very good at keeping those in.
Well, I didn't say anything, but you're sitting there and you're watching it, and
yeah, I was like,
well, me personally, yeah.
I mean, I get it and everything, but yeah, like I said, I understand why people like it, and I understand why people don't like it.
Yeah.
But all right, man. You got anything else?
I believe that's it for me for about everything I wanted to put in this week.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Frank,
yes.
Holly, Jason, everybody that's going to watch this later. Thanks for watching it.
Yes.
If you do
thanks for stopping by.
Yep. If you do like what we're doing here, please hit like, please hit subscribe.
Give us suggestions for us to babble on about endlessly.
Yep. Put stuff down in the comment section. Give us some things to talk about. Like I said, Frank's going to be on here next week with us.
Yeah, give us stuff to talk about, or we'll come up with stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah.
We'll go on another 3-hour Godzilla tangent.
Yeah, you don't want to leave it, dude. Godzilla's going to be out soon, man.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
I'm starting to Jones for it now. But yeah, we'll talk about some stuff next. We'll have some stuff next week. But yeah, please hit like, please hit subscribe, share this out on your social media, tell people about it. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.
And now I just got to figure out how to end it.